All right. So I haven't done a motovlog in quite a while. I was on vacation at the beginning of July, and it's just been so hot here in Texas that I have not even done a lot of riding. When my summer semester class ended, that was probably the last time I rode, and that was probably right at the beginning of the month. So it's probably been about 2 weeks, give or take, since I've actually ridden. Feels good to be back out here, even though it is hot. I picked up a new mesh jacket and some like moisture wickering t-shirts, and I'm gonna see how it feels here. I leaving work, going back home. When I came into work this morning, it wasn't too bad because it was a whole lot cooler, probably 30 some odd degrees cooler than it is right now. But I can say that it doesn't feel too bad as long as you're moving. And that's what I've heard from other people. As long as you're moving, then if you're wearing a mesh jacket, then you can feel the air going through, and it does keep you a little cooler. So right now it doesn't feel too bad at all. So what do I want to kind of talk about today? I normally and probably won't be doing any motovlogs that are politically related. Not much. But I don't mind touching on issues, just not really politics itself. So of course the issue that's been in the news for the last week have been the mass shootings that we've had in Ohio and here in Texas in El Paso. I was in the military, in the Army, for just over 26 years total. And I might do another motovlog at some point talking about my military career and talking about the Army as a whole. But my last duty station was Fort Bliss in El Paso. And it's just a real tragedy that this happened. The city kind of grows on you. It's definitely different place to be in El Paso, being a border town. But in retrospect, I spent, well, I guess about 6, almost 7 years there, and I liked El Paso for the most part. There's some things about it I don't like, but I did like it, and it's just a tragedy that this person drove all the way from Allen, Texas, to El Paso because he hated Hispanics. It's just sad that this world that we live in, that people feel that they have to resort to that. So, and I'm kind of in a dilemma when it comes to the gun rights. I like the fact that I can own a gun, for personal protection and just going out to the range. I just enjoy that. I think part of that, of course, is being in the military. Every year, you went to the range to qualify with your weapon. So the only weapon I ever qualified with while I was in the military was what they call an assault rifle, a M16, AR-15, whatever you want to call it. I came in the Army. It was the M16A1 rifle, which was a fully automatic rifle for the military. And then later on, they moved to the M16A2, which was did not have the automatic feature, but it did shoot in 3-round bursts. So, that was a little different. You don't get a lot of chances to shoot in automatic or 3-round bursts anyway, except for maybe a little bit for familiarization, but not for actual qualification. So, they're always talking about banning assault rifles, but having been in the military for as long as I had, I kind of like the idea of owning a AR-15 style rifle, because that's what I was used to shooting. And for me, it's just going back to that military kind of nostalgia of if I had one. So it's not about personal protection. I hear people talk about using a AR-15 styled weapon for their home defense. Personally, I think that's a ludicrous statement. If someone says, "Oh yeah, I got a AR-15 for home defense," that weapon is not meant for home defense. The muzzle velocity, the rounds that come out of a AR-15, you're talking 1,200, 1,300 feet a second that these rifles are capable of. You have an intruder in your home 10, 15 feet away from you, something shooting at that speed, it's overkill. It is truly overkill to have that type of weapon for home defense. A handgun, okay, you use home defense or personal protection type of rounds, hollow points, so that they don't go through, for the most part, the individual you're firing and through a wall and into your neighbor's house. But I can see having a handgun for home defense. Now, there may even be some handguns that are so powerful they probably shouldn't be used for home defense either. But that's everybody's own preference on what they feel is for their home defense. But in my opinion, don't let anybody fool you to say that an AR-15 is for home defense. It's not. Maybe some hunters use it. Okay. But the M16 AR-15 styled weapons, they are killing machines. That's what they're meant for, to maim and kill. So they're not, though, for in my opinion, for home defense. And I wouldn't have one for home defense. I like having one just going to the range, shooting off a few rounds, becoming accurate with shooting, getting tight shot groups, things of that nature. But not for my home defense. But, I still feel that it's a, I feel for, of course, for the people who have lost family members in El Paso and in Ohio. But I don't know how I feel about not being able to have a AR-15 styled weapon. You know, I was trained to use one for a number of years, so I'm not the average civilian on the street that buys one and because they just, you know, oh man, I love the look of this thing. It looks mean and it looks like you could just, you know, tear some people up. No, and you know, again, when you're in the military, you carry that AR-15 or M16, I should say. You carry it everywhere. Carry it when you go out to field operations. It's strapped to you at all times. When you go to the latrine, as we call it in the military, or to the porta potties, you have it then. When you go to bed at night, normally it's in the cot with you. Some people tie it to them, you know, when they're asleep. You know, so again, for me, it was a part of my way of life for a number of years. You know, half my current age, I was in the military, so it's just, you know, like I said, for me, it's nostalgic to have one. But should I be able to carry one? I mean, you know, I don't know. I like the idea. It really appeals to me to have a assault rifle, if that's what you want to call it. You know, like I said, for me, I like target shooting with them, and that's about it. Because I'm going to defend my home, I'm definitely going to be using a handgun, or I'll go out and I'll buy a shotgun, which is probably one of the best things to actually have for home defense is a shotgun, because you don't have to worry about rounds going through walls and going into your neighbors' homes and all those types of things, because that shotgun shell is not going to go, you know, 500,000 feet or so out from you know, when you pull the trigger. So, you know, that's probably the best item to have for home defense. So, I don't know. If you want to, leave a comment about what you think about AR-15s, M16s being used for home defense. Do you feel that former members of the military, if they want to own one, should they be able to have one? Or should we just totally ban these weapons altogether in civilian life? But if you think about it, you get rid of, let's say you banned M16, AR-15 style weapons. Well, I mean, you have semi-automatic, which just means that when you pull the trigger, one round discharges. Well, I mean, you can get that in a rifle, period. So you get rid of the quote-unquote assault rifles, and people start modifying and making what are normally used for hunting rifles for the same purpose. So is there a real difference? I mean, because to me, what would end up happening is someone would take a normally long-barreled rifle used for hunting and shorten the barrels and shorten the stocks And so now you still have something that was considered a rifle for hunting, and now they basically have shortened it. So now it's basically an assault rifle anyway. So I mean, I just don't see the difference for these gun manufacturers, because they'll find a way to get around it and give the people what they want anyway. So, you know, and again, you know, if you have a comment or whatever you want to talk, you know, if you have a comment about this subject, go right ahead and leave it. And, you know, I'm really new to YouTube, so I don't get a lot of comments. And so I will answer you back. And again, I don't have any problem with people owning, responsibly owning weapons. And I might share my thoughts on Second Amendment rights in a different vlog, motovlog, not in this one. I just kind of wanted to get my feet wet, so to speak, in doing a vlog again, because it's been probably a month since I've actually put one out. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. I'm heading home, just passing Six Flags, Texas, on for I